This is a complex question, actually. Eventually, in my case, my fiancé was interested in studying in the US, and he was really thrilled about the idea of pursuing his own career here. And he influenced my personal decision in pursuing my academic career here in the US too. So that was eventually the trigger. And while researching about the possibilities of pursuing an academic career here in the US, I found out that I had much more opportunities here in the US than actually in Europe. And that's eventually the reason why I applied for studying in the US. Yeah. Well, obviously nowadays there are lots of information online, so you can first browse a bit on different websites, search Google first, and at the same time you have, in Germany at least, there is the so-called Amerika Haus in Munich, where you can ask for detailed information, for advice too. There is a library where you can consult books related to academic possibilities, and there are also possibilities to have an appointment with I would say a counselor. And it was awesome, simply because then you get the chance to talk to a person that can directly give you some advice on how to proceed. Yeah. And what I liked about it is also the possibility that you had books, really. There is the so-called collection of books from College Board. They are available there, and this is naturally very specific to the American educational system. I would say you should think about at least a year before. In my case, I know that I came also for visiting. I want to see how it is like to be in the United States, and I wanted to see also the institution, and it gives you actually the opportunity to have a first impression and eventually to apply for the degree you're interested in with direct counseling, and also eventually to already take the so-called placement tests, for example. So you already have some milestones done before you even come to the United States for the actual studies. I think in my case, it was pretty clear that I would come to NOVA, simply because I had heard so much about it, and only in a positive way. So I didn't have to search much about the different types of institutions. Where I had to search is, on the long run, what kind of opportunities are available to me. So it's not only about finding out what kind of college you want to attend, it's also about what kind of opportunities are available to you afterward when you want to transfer. Because obviously the college is the first milestone of your actual academic career, and you want to make sure that what you're going to get there is going to open you up further possibilities. In my case, not necessarily, but definitely by time I found out that it's definitely an advantage for lots of students, simply because there are specific agreements with universities in the area which make it a bit easier for you to be accepted right away. You don't have to be on a waiting list in a way. At the same time, it also gives you the security that once you're done with a community college, you already at least have one or two possibilities afterward. So it's not like, you know, you're stuck somewhere. It's definitely something you can pursue. Personally, I felt like it's not that complex. I was surprised. I expected it to be much more complex, and I think there is this kind of image that it's complex. I think the more complex part of it is to take a decision where to go, and to really have an understanding why you want to go there. Once you have clarified that, then the next things to do are things to do, but it's not as complex as you may expect. For college level, I had the impression that you had to first be at least the first or second semester at in the college in order to being able to apply for scholarships. Once you are in, there are lots of opportunities actually out there, and myself, I got the opportunity to apply for several of them. So once you are in the community college, once you're part of the system, I would say, then And once you have shown, proved that you were able to pursue an academic career, I think that's the important part, you can apply for scholarships. And you need to find out where, naturally, but there are several websites available meanwhile. There are several systems that kind of open you up where to find those scholarships. Yeah, I've been working actually at the Student Activities Office and at the Writing Center too. Yeah. So as an international student, that's a very good point. Indeed, because as an international student, obviously you're not allowed to work off campus, but you are allowed to work on campus. So you have to find what kind of opportunities are available on campus. And interestingly, I've been given different possibilities after naturally I've proven that I am part of this community too. So you have to give some time to it. You shouldn't expect that you would find a job right away. You should be actively looking for a job and actively present on the campus. It's very important to be part of it. I guess I've been looking up the USCIS website. It's where actually you have to fill out the form, so the immigration website, and I think there was a description, if I'm not mistaken, of how it's going to be proceeded. The interview itself, I had no real idea what to expect. I just knew they want to get to meet me, to know what reasons were how do you say it, pushing me to apply for an F1 visa. And I guess they want to make sure you really want to study in the US. Yeah, I was surprised actually. I think I had to wait much longer than the actual interview. The interview was about 5 or 10 minutes. Actually, I just got the website address for applying for the F1 visa. And I had to make sure I had my I-20, obviously. So the college had to make sure I had my papers in place, so I could obviously prove that I was applying for studying here in the US. And naturally that I was also able to finance my studies. They had an orientation program. It was called the F1 orientation session, and so you got the opportunity to learn more about the institution itself, the procedures themselves, and naturally and most importantly, I think, you get the chance to meet counselors and students that are as well international students. So you can already do some connections, which is important naturally when you come in a completely new environment. Definitely. I felt home in a way right away. Yes, in a short sentence, everything was open to me, and I felt really welcome here. There's the so-called F1 coffee hour, so international students get to meet each other on a regular basis, and naturally all the activities actually here on campus are also addressed to international students. Here at Nova it's very unique, I would say, in a way, because it's a very diverse student population, so it's not necessarily as obvious who is really an international student or not. So it feels like everybody is actually international, and that's the perspective. Everybody, there is no real difference to see. Yeah, and that's what actually I like about it. I had been told that Americans are not that interested in what's going on really in the world, and obviously I think I'm blessed that I'm in Washington, D.C., because everybody knows much more than I do know. So I generally hear about what's going on in the world through Americans in general. So I think, yeah, that was a preconception that was wrong.